On a windy and snowy night, there's a fried chicken restaurant that's thriving. 7 shop workers were massacred in one night. The police formed a 120-member special task force after spending a year investigating but nothing to show for it. However, Dr. Henry Lee found the most important clue in a few chicken bones. The suspect was arrested and it was just a teenager. So what happened in that night? And how Dr. Henry Lee solved the case from the chicken bone? Let's get into it. This week on Crime Investigator, we discuss the Brown's Chicken Massacre. The case happened in Paladin, Illinois, USA. It's a town with a population of about 40,000, a quiet little town. It's only 50 kilometers from Chicago. There is a restaurant called Brown's Chicken on the side of the highway in northwest Paladin. It's a restaurant chain. There are more than 100 chain stores across the United States. In 1992, a married couple named Richard and Lynn invested their life savings to own the restaurant. Richard is 50 years old, and Lynn is 49 years old. They have been married for 25 years and have 3 daughters. Because it's located right next to the highway and close to Chicago O'Hare International Airport. So the business has always been good. The shop hire 5 people. No one ever imagined 7 innocent hard-working people are being shot at for no reason at all. Brown's Chicken is open from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily. On January 8, 2013. Usually, the fried chicken shop employees would simply clean up after closing at night and leave work on time. At 10 o'clock, they would return to their homes. But this day it was almost midnight and they hadn't come home yet. Not even contactable. The family member who was worried called the police station. The police then sent a patrol car to the fried chicken shop to check on the situation. Officers arriving on scene found the fried chicken shop was closed. The door was closed and the lights were turned off. They thought that the staff was off duty and had a dinner party. Without notifying the family. The police officer who found nothing unusual leaves. 2 hours later, it was nearly 2 in the morning. None of the 7 fried chicken workers had returned home yet. Even if it was a dinner party, they'd never stay out this late. None of them contacted their parent. Again, the family called the police station and explained the situation. This time the police took it more seriously and 2 criminal investigation officers went to the station. They arrived at the restaurants at 3:11 a.m. and broke into the house. There were traces of blood on the floor of the shop. Police officers were stunned by what they saw when they opened the store's freezers. The police found the bodies of Richard and Thomas in the freezer. 5 other bodies were found on the east side of the freezer. The bodies were piled on the floor of the freezer. The police officer immediately reported the situation and started an investigation. The police found bullet holes in the back of the victim's head. They indicate that the victim was forced to kneel on the ground before the shooting. Experts believe it is most probable that this was a massacre. Michael and Rico were the youngest of the victims. Even they had been shot several times. 6 bullet holes were found in Michael's body. Besides, Michael had been stabbed several times in the abdomen. They may have tried to fight back at the criminals before they died. Investigators at the scene found bullets in cardboard and broth inside the line, as well as under drinks. Bullets extracted from the victim's body plus the crime scene. In total, there are more than 24. While the body is being examined, another team is working the crime scene. Evidence was collected for fingerprint specimens. Spattered blood was measured. And photographing the body. In total, approximately 100 fingerprints were collected, along with some hair fibers, blood stains, bullets, and more. A bloody mop was also found next to the door on the east side of the restaurant. They think the killer used him to clean up the blood at the scene. There's blood all over the doorframes in Frozen City. Bullet holes were also found in the ceiling. Cash was taken from the cash register in the store. But the money of the victim was untouched. There were an empty drink cup and some order receipts on the counter of the restaurant. The scene checks were very thorough. Even the trash cans were not left untouched. Police went through a lot of trash cans. All were empty except for one trash can. In that bin, police found a small bag of garbage. However, it's not sure if it's useful in solving the case. They still collected it. And freeze it. The police formed a 120-member special task force. As the case progressed, the police were not only unable to determine the number of guns used by the killer. They didn't even know how many guns were used by the killer. Months later, no progress has been made in the case. And the case became an unsolved crime. Many people, including the victim's family, believe that the police wasted many valuable chances. Such as when the first call was received. If the police investigator is being more detailed. There would not be a delay of 5 hours in finding the dead body. Besides, there was no thorough search of the surrounding area. The petrol stations along the highway have CCTV cameras. If the police get the footage in time, they might be able to find the suspect in it. But until 2 weeks after the massacre. Only then the police went to investigate the gas station nearby. Due to the long interval, video images from the night of the massacre have been deleted. The public is both filled with anger and fear over this case. And with time passed, the situation is getting worse. The police were hoping to find material evidence experts to assist in the investigation. The Special Crime Unit has contacted Dr. Henry Lee several times. But Henry Lee was the director of the Forensics Center of the Connecticut Police Department. It is still a professor at the University of New Haven with a lot of work. The case was in Chicago. Dr. Lee has repeatedly declined requests to assist in the case. The case has been unsolved for a long time. Paladin police, who had no choice, found the mother of Henry Lee. Paladin police convinced Lee's mother. Lee's mother also feels that the case is too serious and wants Henry Lee to help with the investigation. On January 28, 1994, 1 year after the crime, Henry Lee to Paladin, he spent 3 days re-examining the site. Post-mortem and examination for physical evidence. After examining it, Henry Lee also felt hopeless. Although knowing the caliber of the bullet, even the ballistics have been calculated. But it won't help solve the case. There are too few clues and the gun has not been found. We can't make bricks without straw. There is too little evidence. Henry Lee also said there was nothing he could do about the case. The police officer said, "We still have a bag of garbage from the crime scene here. At this point, it's no choice." The police took out this bag in the freezer. Stored a whole year's garbage. Dr. Lee was immediately suspicious when he saw the trash. The fried chicken shop by the highway is running a good business, but why is there so little garbage? 2 loaves of bread, 37 French fries and 2 drumsticks, a whole chicken breast, a piece of chicken meat and part of a leftover chicken wing bone. So will this bag of trash hold any clues? Henry Lee compared the trash to a receipt from the fried chicken shop. And found that this fried chicken combo was the last one they sold that night. The receipt shows the sold time was 9:07 p.m. that night. It's a $6.60 fried chicken combo. Normally in this combo set, it contains 2 loaves of bread, 1 bag of fries, 4 pieces of fried chicken. And this set of meals in this garbage, there's an extra chicken wing bones in there. So what does this relate to the case? Henry Lee found out that the fried chicken shop was closed every night at 9 o'clock sharp. Combined with an extra chicken wing in the combo, Henry Lee makes an inference. The suspect's very likely that one of the 7 clerks knew each other or someone who worked at the fried chicken restaurant. After the fried chicken restaurant closed, he ordered the fried chicken combo. And the staff gave him an extra chicken wing. This person who last showed up at the store and ordered the fried chicken combo. There's a high possibility it's the murderer. People must have to suck when they eat chicken wings. Which would also mean that the chicken wing had been in the suspect's mouth. The suspect's saliva must have been left on the chicken bones. With saliva, it can be carried out DNA tests and found the suspect. Dr. Lee decided to extract the DNA from the chicken bones immediately. In 1994, DNA technology was not widely available. So Paladin police never thought to work with DNA. Although Henry Lee successfully collected the suspect's DNA, but unfortunately at that time, the DNA database was not developed. Even if DNA was collected, there was no one to match it to. The case is once again deadlocked. Dr. Lee also felt sorry for it. 10 years after the murders, DNA extracted from chicken bones was the key to solving the case. On May 8, 2004, the police arrested a drug dealer named Juan Luna. A DNA test was run on him. And his DNA was found to be the same as that of a suspect, who hadn't eaten all of the chicken that had been dumped in the trash at the time of the murder years before. And the man had been working at a chicken restaurant before. He was also questioned by the police after the incident. His girlfriend perjured that Juan was not at the scene of the crime at that time. The police thought Juan Luna was a major suspect. Juan was arrested and his accomplice, James Draculiski, was arrested. After interrogation, it was confirmed that they were responsible for the crime. On January 8, 1993, who was then only a child at the time of the crime, was arrested. 18 years old. James is 20, and they're best friends who like to listen to heavy music. They usually torture animals for fun. That night these two young men planned to do something big. They carried 2 pistols with their pockets full of bullets. At 9 p.m. they entered Brown's Fried Chicken. Juan once worked in this store. He knew the layout of the place well enough to know that there was no alarm system. Once inside the restaurant, Juan ordered the fried chicken combo, waiting for the store to run out of customers. He gets up and throw the rest of the food in the trash, and then with James, they pulled out their guns and drove everyone in the freezer room. Then began a horrific killing spree. All 7 workers were killed. Among them are mothers and fathers of a family. Also has a boyfriend who is about to marry his wife. Some children are still working part-time as minors. But Juan and James had no qualms about murdering them. The store was robbed about $2,000 after the incident. In analyzing the psychology of the 2 men, the psychologist said, the robbery of $2,000 was not enough to support their motive to kill 7 people. Juan and James were classic psychopaths. They know the difference between right and wrong, and they know that criminal behavior is wrong, but they have no conscience to feel guilty for the harm they cause. For them, criminality is often just a fun pastime. They have frightened the community without any sense of guilt or innocence. In 2007, Juan and James were both sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole on 7 counts, including intentional homicide. The case finally came to a close 16 years after the crimes. If Dr. Lee hadn't run the DNA through a few chicken bones, there will never be an answer in this case. See you next week in The Crime Investigator.